So in this closing session, a few bits of information, but also looking towards the future. And I don't know if Bill mentioned earlier, but as we come to the end of 5 years, 5.5 years of the centre, we've been working hard over the last year to see how we could see the future of the centre and also how we could fund it. We had, as some of you will know, an initial 5-year pump prime funding from the Laces Trust. Next slide, please. So what are our future plans? Well, in looking at, we want to continue our work on with regulators, both in the UK and abroad, but also in policy. And I have some breaking news here on reasonable adjustments from David Krepaki. So if we could have the next slide, and David could put his microphone on. David, over to you.
Hello, Ashok. Am I coming through clearly? Can you hear
Yes.
me? Just check. Perfect. Thank you, Ashok. Lovely. Thank you for inviting me. Over the past few years, it's been an absolute joy to be working with the Collaborating Centre for Values-Based Practice, and we've heard a lot of talk about engaging lived experience, but the centre has been an absolute leader in taking this into entirely new areas. So I'm someone who hears voices that other people don't. I've received a diagnosis of schizophrenia, and very often our knowledge and our experience is marginalized in both academic and clinical practice. And one of the things that we try to do, and you'll see there's been a significant list of contributors to this particular piece of book, but we want this particular piece of work, this book, what we want to see is the experience of hearing voices not seen as a kind of symptom of schizophrenia, but actually seen as a personal trait that brings both benefits and challenges. And this particular piece of work has been identifying what some of the challenges are for those of us who hear voices in workplace settings, and what we, and more importantly, employers can do to make workplaces accessible to people who hear voices. I don't think this question would even have been possible or meaningful 10 or 15 years ago. And it's an example of strong forward thinking from the Collaborating Centre and from my own organisation, the Mental Health Foundation, that has enabled us to bring together people who hear voices with top quality employers. We were supported amazingly by Dennis Lord Stevenson, who co-authored the Farmer Stevenson report into workplace well-being, and we have now literally just yesterday I saw the final proofs of this document, which will be freely accessible to anyone who's interested, and the idea is very much to make any workplace much more inaccessible and friendly to people who hear and see things. Huge thank you to all those who contributed to making this book possible. That's Caroline, Pauline, John, Bill, Ashok, Emily, and Mark, and Katie, who did an amazing piece of work to turn it into a really pretty publication. So I don't think I need to say any more than that, except that it's a real example of how you can go from something that feels like a completely mad idea to a practical piece of work that employers and employees will benefit from on a local, regional, national, and international scale.
Thank you, David. And so we will be setting up a launch for this work in the early part of next year. And as David has said, it will be freely available to all our individual partners, organizational partners, and your networks beyond that. So thank you. Next slide, please. So the other plans are around education. So we know that we want to work with other professional groups. You've seen the sampling of the professional groups we've already been working with, and also other undergraduate programs, including spreading across not just sub-Saharan Africa, but West Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia and Australasia. So we hope that we'll be able to do that. We want to look at other undergraduate programs with some more interprofessional education, as you heard from Laura Chalmers, and that's an area of work for the next 5 years. And then I'm also pleased to announce that we've been working very closely with Guillaume and Bill, and many of you have already been invited to join on a new concept of a Meta Masters program, which we aim to launch next year, where each participating academic institution or university will contribute 2 of the seminars in exchange for other seminars from the rest of the program. And so you'll hear more about that. It's exciting, particularly in the time of COVID, where travel is going to be restricted for probably 3 to 4 years. And we think that this Meta Masters program will really be cutting edge. Next slide, please. On the teamwork and research side, we know that the research networks have been incredibly productive. You've heard about some of them today, and I just wanted to give an opportunity for Anna to talk about some breaking news from Anna and David. So next slide, please, and over to you, Anna.
Yes, thank you for the mic. Yes, so this breaking news is really speaking to the next generation. So we heard on Friday that we have been successful in a PhD studentship, which is funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council. But unlike a standard PhD program, it's a collaborative doctoral program, which is run together with me as the philosopher and David Krepaski on behalf of the Mental Health Foundation. And the focus of the work is really that of embedding lived experience and personal values in improving research. So really capturing what it is about lived experience that can inform and improve science, and at once provide and really bring out the ethical dimension that we maintain is part of science already, or at least it ought to be so. So this is a 3-year studentship that will start with effect of October next year. I'm writing the advert at the moment, so look out for future news. We're hoping to advertise it in December, possibly January, and we will be and it's a fully funded. You will get a tax-free stipend of, I think it's about £16,000 per year, and also all fees. It's open to international students also. I don't know how much time we have here.
But a bit longer, Anna, if you need.
Well, the real aim of the focus is to bring a philosophical perspective, to develop both, well, rather to reappraise quality of life as a key necessary component of any meaningful intervention in a way that can complement recent focus on biomedical markers and so forth. So this is not an alternative to neuroscientific development. It's rather a way of synthesizing and integrating the two. And what we are focusing on, and this is what I think makes the program rather quite ambitious, is that our target is really what is sometimes referred to as serious and enduring mental illness. And so what we are trying to do is to move from a very individualized idea of illness as something that only belongs to the pathologized person, and think of it rather in holistic and collaborative ways. So this is a way of working, a process that we have seen very much through David's work succeed in the case of suicide prevention, but also in, I guess, quote unquote, milder forms of mental health conditions like anxiety and depressions and so on. And we believe firmly that this model, this way of working, as a way of also empowering the patient. The next step would be to enlarge it to so-called serious and enduring mental illness.
Great. Anna, thank you so much for telling us about that, and clearly an opportunity for people on this seminar and to maybe put forward some students for that. Thank you again. So next slide, please. So what I wanted, the purpose was not just show you a pretty picture of the Sheldonian, but to say that the Collaborator Centre truly is only virtually hosted in Oxford. But as you've heard today, it really is an international centre with colleagues working across the globe. And we very much hope that you will continue to do that, to spread your networks and to continue to work with us back in Oxford too. And that as things improve with the vaccine and testing programs, that we will be able to get back to some travel, but we're pretty confident that the future for the short to medium term certainly is going to be at best the conferences that are a mix of both in-person and remote. Next slide, please. So it only leaves me to do a few thank yous. Firstly, to the speakers for giving up their time, the preparation, and giving excellent talks. And as Bill and I have said, this is a sample of all the rest of the rich work going on with collaborators for the centre. I particularly wanted to thank the team behind the scenes, Connor, who's been moving the slides, Devon, collating all the questions and putting them together for Bill and I to look at. Joel, who not only was giving a talk, but also providing support and hosting the team at St. Catherine's College. And last but not least, Mihir, who really made all the techie stuff work, kept us all to task, particularly Bill and me, in trying really hard behind the scenes to keep us to time. And thank you, all of you. I want to thank St. Catherine's College for both hosting the centre, but also to allow us to have the team working in there today, and our individual partners, you, the audience out there. And I also did want to mention the Laces Trust, because as I said to you before, the Laces Trust funded us for the first 5 years, and I'm pleased to report that they have now enhanced the funding for the centre for the next 5 years. And what that is allowing us to do is, Bill, I hope you forgive me to go on to say this, to be appointed starting January 1st as the director of the centre, taking over from Bill. Bill will, of course, continue to have a vital role in how the centre works and develops, and he's not allowed to retire, absolutely. But I just wanted to also take the opportunity to thank Bill for talking to me over dinner, for following it up, and for letting me see the light on how I could improve the way I particularly practice with my own patients, let alone try to develop the teaching programs that we've done. Next slide, please. So I think the future, from what we've heard today, is certainly bright for the centre. What we're hoping to do, or what we plan to do, is to have a debrief and invite those of you who are with us today, either as audience or participants, to further follow up, to look at what areas you wish to develop over the next 5 years, how we in the centre can help. And when I say we in the centre, that's all of us, because we're all in the centre. So Bill, before I say stay safe and stay well, last words back to you, please, Bill, to close.
Well, thank you, Ashok. I'd like just to say two things. First, I don't have any plans to retire, much to everybody's disappointment, I'm sure. But second, that it's absolutely wonderful to see you and the rest of the team coming through now, and all our speakers. I'm sure for a lot of us, we share pleasure in the Star Trek series. And the slide that I've been finishing all my presentations on recently is a picture of Jean-Luc Picard, the Star Trek captain, with a group of our team around him as the next generation in values-based practice. And so, Ashok, it's wonderful that you're going to be our Jean-Luc Picard starting in January. Thank you.
Thank you all, and we will definitely be in touch. If there's anything else people want to put in the chat before they log out, and hope you all have a very good, whether it's an afternoon, evening, or night to follow, the very best in the next 24 hours and beyond. Thank you.